Hi, everybody. My name is Kathy, and I'm an artist and art coach, online and in person. And I do a lot of things these days, but my passion is putting the Word of God with art. And this just really helps us solidify the Word of God and helps us to move closer into a closer relationship with Him. So today I'm going to show you how to draw a stonefish, and we are relating this to our thoughts. So hang tight. Um, I will be reading you a little something and then we'll go right into the drawing portion. So, have you ever gone fishing and caught a fish you had to throw back? I'm not a fisherman, fisherwoman. Maybe it wasn't the kind that you were after, or maybe it was too small. While we sometimes have thoughts that we need to keep, and sometimes there are some that we need to get rid of too, right? They may be insignificant or just the wrong kind. There are some specific verses about what we are to do with our thoughts. So 2 Corinthians 10:5 says that we are to take every thought captive and make it obedient to Christ. You need to examine your thoughts and see if they line up to what God says in his word. Romans 12:2 says not to conform to the patterns of this world, right? But be transformed by the renewing of our minds, and that by doing so we will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good and perfect will, right? Philippians 4:8 says to think about whatever is true, whatever is noble, pure, lovely, admirable, excellent, or praiseworthy. And Ephesians 4:24 through 25 admonishes us to put our new self on, created to be like God in true righteousness and holiness, and put off falsehood and speak truthfully. It's a mouthful. Colossians 3:2 through 5 says to set our minds on things above and not on earthly things. It reminds us that our sinful nature died when Christ died, and therefore we need to put to death the things that belong to our earthly nature. We don't get any life from something that's dead, right? We need to seek God Himself, who is life. So when taking your fish home, um, you might want to fry it up and eat it, right? But you don't take the rotten ones home. You don't eat and cook, or you don't cook and eat them. They need to be left alone. And we need to recognize that our thoughts that don't bring life to our spirits are not to be taken home, fried up, and consumed. So sometimes our minds are like a big net that we throw out, and especially with social media now, a lot of things out there that we consume. So sometimes those thoughts get tangled up together, and we need to sort through them. We need to very purposefully separate the good from the bad and be mindful that not all thoughts are truth. Just because they are in your head floating around doesn't make them valuable or true. These are those nagging thoughts to the dead fish that keep floating on the surface. They are well seen, stinky, and obviously won't be swimming away on their own. It's up to you to walk away and not revisit. Sometimes we need help, and sometimes your prayer can be as easy as that, just help. Sometimes, no matter how hard we try on our own, we need someone to come alongside of us to help us, and that's where God comes in. King David told God, I will call to you whenever trouble strikes, and you will answer me. And that's Psalm 86:7. So we're going to go right into the drawing portion. So hold tight with me. And really, all you need is paper and pencil at this point. But this will give you a little bit of an idea. You might want an eraser. I don't often erase that much, but starting out, that might be a good plan for you. So I just switched this over to a different camera. So you can hit pause, of course, and you can go grab the supplies that you need and join me in creating the stonefish. So here's my little desk and, well, my big desk, but the other portion that you don't see is quite messy, so we won't show you that part. But I think I'll have what I need here. Sometimes I need to make sure I'm not off camera, so I'm just gonna kind of make some marks here for me so I stay within these parameters. Okay, cool. So we're gonna start with some shapes. So what you're gonna need is kind of this fishy shape here. Kind of like a teardrop, I suppose, if you turn it the other way. And I need to go darker, obviously, because you can't see that. So I'm going to go turn my light down a little bit, maybe. Yeah, that'll help. Cool. So oftentimes when I start, I'm going to draw lightly so I can erase if I need to. But I'm working a little bit darker for you today. So you see that. You see my lines are not perfect. Um, that's okay. We just keep working. So you're going to see this kind of a shape back here. So you've got the teardrop kind of shape or fish shape, and then you have, you might even break this down further. So this might be like a triangle back here, and then you're going to put this half circle on it, right? Or if you're confident, you can just do that whole shape at once. Okay, so a lot of times when I start, I'm going to start with the biggest shape, which is this one here, and then I'm adding on other shapes. So this is going to be kind of your next shape here. Got it? Okay, and then about maybe a third of the way from here to here, I have this part, and I'm going to draw a nice like half circle. See that? Shapes, right? So there's a teardrop, another teardrop, this up here, and now we've got this half circle, and I haven't done any erasing or perfecting at this point. Okay. Now I've got this shape that comes about to half of the half circle and might protrude out just a little bit past, okay? And we're going to make another half circle. So it doesn't come down too far into this bigger half circle. Okay, pretty easy, right? And if I'm going too fast, remember that you can pause. Okay, so now let's see. We are going to maybe make this bit just a little bit taller. Okay, just make that come up a little bit more. So that might be from the top to here, might be half of this teardrop shape. That tall, okay? We also need to put, now that you're getting good and more confident with your shapes, we're going to put this kind of shape in here, down here. Okay, and now we are going to start to round some things out. So here, we're going to round this a bit, okay? And we're going to add just a little piece down here. So about like that, okay? Cool. So now let's start and we'll go top to bottom. And I am going to erase a little bit. I'm glad I had an eraser close. So I'm going to take that stuff away. So the reason that I'm doing the stonefish is because it is a pretty venomous fish. It can be really deadly, and oftentimes, so I'm just doing a series of lines, and they're curved a little bit. So oftentimes people don't even see them, see the stonefish because they're so hidden, and they can be in the sand. So when people are walking on the beach, they may not even see them. So, okay, now we're going to just do some squiggly lines. So here, see, it's kind of like the ocean wave. We're just going to go up and down. And don't worry about perfection, okay? We're just going to have fun today. Okay, so something like that. Now, since I have these lines here, I want to continue a bit, but the lines are going to get a little farther apart. So, again, just feel free to do this loosely. We don't need to be rigid. That's no fun. Okay, so something like that. And this might come down a little bit here. You might have another little thing there. So that's going to be that. You can count if you want to count the points, but I don't think we need to be that rigid, right? So now that we've got that part in, let's work on the tail a little bit. The tail fin. So now we're going to do those same wiggly lines here, but they're going to come like kind of arched. So you can draw yourself a guideline, and now you can either stay outside that guideline or inside it, and then you're going to do some wiggly lines this way. How easy is that? Okay, same thing with the very outer, the very tip. Okay, you're going to have that guideline, and then this time I'll stay inside of it. And I'm just going to make the tip of my wiggly lines touch that line. Okay, Cool. All right. So now we're going to do a series of lines coming from the tip to in here. And we're just going to keep adding lines. Okay. And see how I've got them pretty equally spaced. Cool. And then some short lines here, but I'm going to take some of my crazy lines. And you can perfect now, or you can wait till the end and take some of your extra marks out, whatever you prefer. Like I said, I try not to get hung up on my erasing because you want to pay attention to what you get right, not all the little mistakes. So, and not even mistakes really. Some of them are just guidelines. So these are going to be short little lines. Okay, got it? Cool. We are moving now. Okay, so now we're going to have this little, like these little wiggly lines here, and here, and here. Okay, and you might notice that the closer my lines are together, the darker that it might appear. See, these ones look a little, like the space looks a little bit lighter, doesn't it? Cool, so we've got all those done so far. Let's go ahead and move on to this down here and clean it up a little first. Okay, now we're just going to add some lines and they are going to come into the fish here. So you have to decide kind of on your spacing. A lot of times you want lines to look a little bit different than the last one, but the spacing right now is pretty much the same. So I might give it a little flare, right? We just added a little bit. So we took away just a little bit to the bottom there. So cool. Now let's get to the good part. So the fish, the stonefish has a pretty flat face. So remember we have this, this smaller half circle up here, and we're going to take this part out. So that leaves us with the bulk of his face. He's not a very pretty fish at all. And so you can start to curve some of these things out, right? And let's see, we want to put kind of his eye goes in this area here. Add, take away this part. And then his mouth comes kind of like a heart shape here. I don't know how many people actually love this fish, especially the ones who have stepped on one. They can be deadly. So just like the stonefish, you can add a little circle in here. Our thoughts can be pretty, pretty consuming. They can really hurt us. And so I think this is really a good sample lesson for you because it's really a good place to start with just being aware, being more mindful of what you're catching, what you're letting go of. Just adding just a little bit of shading behind his head. So I told you he's really not a pretty fish. Now he's got some marks here, kind of. I'm just going to add some lines, and then we're going to add to those lines a bit. So see, the lines here are more like guidelines for me. So now I'm going to go back and just kind of add some more to those. So pretty quickly we've gotten the biggest part of this fish in. Okay, now I'm going to take this out. I don't need this part. And I don't need this part. Okay. Some is showing through, so that's why another reason why you want to draw lightly. So if you do happen to need to erase, you can do that and it won't show up. So now I'm going to make some guidelines for myself with this one. So oftentimes you want to know where you're going to start and where you're going to end up. So it's like beginning, a starting point and a end, a finish line, right? So you might kind of connect some of these dots. Think of it that way. So see how this circle, half circle curves, right? And so this part has to curve as well. So things that are round, you want to make sure that the directional lines are making sense. Okay, and then this flattens out a little bit as it comes to the top. And I could put another one or two down here. So now we're just gonna kind of perfect these a bit. Get in here and make a better line. So that's another thing. So when you first begin to sketch something out, it's exactly that. It's a sketch. Don't think of it as like you have to have something perfect. You're mapping it out for yourself. So think of it more that way, that you're creating um, this plan. Okay. So now I'm gonna add a little bit more shading to this part, right? So we might need a line here, and let's put another line here. So inside these two lines is where I'm going to add just a little bit of shading. See, I'm using the side of my pencil. It's nothing too fancy. You can use a regular pencil. And now I'm going to put two other lines inside here. And so now I'm adding a little more shading here. You could add a little bit darker portion to the outer bit. Same thing, we're just going to add a little shading here. So you can choose how how you want to do this. You could even take some of these lines out so that just your shading remains. I think that looks a little nicer. Oops. Oftentimes too, like your lines don't have to continue if you just give someone an idea. Like, if I'm going to draw this here, your mind might continue it without me putting it in there. So it's giving you the idea of where those lines are going to end up. So that's a very simple thing. One thing that I would suggest that you do at this point is just go in and make your lines look a little, not always necessarily darker, but a little bit more refined. So here you can see I've got some scribble. I might just clean it up a bit. It's kind of like making our bed. We're gonna just kind of smooth out the wrinkles, right? We're gonna make it look nice. Not that I made my bed today, because I haven't, but I will. So my line here, I'm not getting this all at once. I'm kind of adding to it little by little. And now I'm going to come down here. You could make this curve a bit too. I think I will do that. It looks a little more realistic. And the one thing that for sure I need to change is it doesn't come to a tight point right here. So I'm going to make this come out here and out here just a bit. So that was just to get our shapes. All right. I don't know that that's going to erase completely, but now you know. Now you know how to draw a stonefish if you ever wanted to know that in the first place. But we got some practice in, so. Let me switch my camera over. And yeah, I just thank you for joining me on that. I wanted to give you a taste of my style and really what I'm about deep down, helping people and applying these biblical concepts. So thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the future. God bless.